Hi, everyone. Um, Welcome to CMO Peer Talks by Promo Republic. This month, we're talking about how AI visibility shapes customer choice in 2026. I am excited for everybody to join us. I'll give us just another minute to let some folks join here before we get started on introductions. For a quick little overview, we've got some really good, insightful questions that I expect will spur a lot of engaging discussion about AI and how we are seeing the market and technology change so rapidly, day by day, week by week. And I'm really looking forward to at the end we'll have some Q&A, and everybody here will have the opportunity to ask any of us any questions, and we're happy to share our expertise with everybody on this call. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to the CMO Peer Talks community. Alex, I'll pop it over to you right now for a full introduction.
Well, thank you. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Alex.
I'm sorry, guys. Let's go back. Alex H. from Promo. There are two Alexes on this, so it's very easy to get confused. Alex H. I'll use initials now. So, Alex, I thought maybe you'd want to give a little bit of what CMO Peer Talks community is.
Absolutely. So for anybody who's tuning in for the first time, CMO Peer Talks is our online community where we aim to deliver an engaging and educational piece of content, typically on a once per month cadence. We do both online and offline meetups. Offline meetups typically in conjunction with any large franchise conferences that are typically already happening. For those who are tuning in for the first time, if you got an invite from a colleague, from a peer, feel free to scan the QR code. This way you receive updates on all the upcoming sessions, and we hope to have you connect. Passing the mic back over to you, Brandy.
Thank you. And, again, there's a QR code there. Please tell your friends. The more the merrier. The more we have talking and engaging on these topics, the more educated we all are, especially with all these technological changes coming this year. My name is Brandy Murch. I'm the Director of Digital Marketing at Threshold Brands. We have 11 brands within our umbrella. I run the organic agency that sits within Threshold Brands. I work across nearly all brands with both franchisees and with the brands themselves. I've been in the digital space for about 15 years. I started on the agency side. I moved to franchising a few years ago, and it's my home. I love franchising. I found it to be the perfect space for me to both advance and use all of the marketing skills I gained on the agency side, along with being that helper and teacher to all of the franchisees and brands. And I really love the franchise space. So I'm really excited to both be a Threshold and be here with everybody. So go ahead to the next slide. Alex P., I'll hand the mic over to you now. We may have lost Alex. I know he was having connectivity issues. So let's go ahead and do an introduction on the next slide, which is Mariana.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mariana. I have been in the food service industry for over 10 years now, 6 years at Leadership, and I've been with Barburrito for 2 years. I'm the Senior Marketing Manager at Barburrito, and as you know, we are the largest Tex-Mex QSR brand in Canada with over 390 locations. I oversee most of e-commerce, loyalty, and local store marketing, and excited to be here.
Awesome. Thank you. Christian, I'll hand the mic over to you for an introduction.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, everybody, for joining. I'm Christian Betancourt. I serve as Chief Marketing Officer for Voda Cleaning and Restoration. We actually just announced today we are a system of 100 passionate franchise owners across 250 locations in 30 states. And that's all just over 2 years of development. So a very fast growing home service brand and platform. My role oversees all national and local marketing strategies. I have a great team that really oversees that for the franchisees. And then obviously growing Voda to a household name from coast to coast.
Thank you, Christian, and awesome, fantastic news. Congratulations on your success. Birdie, microphone over to you.
Hey everybody, Bertie Allen here. I'm the ex-marketing director for Premium Service Brands, currently the active marketing director for Herbal Spirit Wellness, which is a wellness brand. Did a strong shift in industries since health and wellness is my passion. Recently turned 40 years young this year, so definitely wanted to focus on that vertical a bit more, knowing that herbals and wellnesses have been something that have been part of my life in my active self. Beyond that, during my tenure at PSB, I was responsible for 9 brands and over 400 franchisees in the development of their success in general. Picked up a master's degree at William and Mary and do current active consultation and AI oversights, which is kind of the main event for today. So happy to be here.
Awesome to have you with us. So I think that we have Alex P back. So let's go ahead and see if we can get him on here for an introduction. Alex, microphone to you.
Perfect. Then just Alex, go ahead.
So thank you for having me. I am Alex Perici. I'm the VP of Marketing for Pure Clean. Been with the company 11 years, and AI is a passion. I'm actually at a marketing AI conference right now in Cleveland, 1,500 people. If you guys haven't been, I recommend it. Great, great event. So looking forward to this conversation.
Thank you so much. Alex H., I'll hand it back over to you.
Perfect. Then just 60 seconds of everybody's attention. First and foremost, thank you so much for carving time out of your busy days to connect and learn from our panelists today. As always, CMO Pure Talks is always brought to you by Promo Republic, your AI-powered franchise and multi-location business command center for local organic marketing. Go to Command Center to automate your social, reviews, and local search presence. Lead your strategy with data-backed executive level reporting to measure ROI and effectiveness of your local marketing and identify growth opportunities month over month. Whether you're driving your strategy centrally or there's a layer of activating franchisees and accountability by franchisees, we have the mobile first tools to also get them involved. If you're looking to strengthen your local digital presence going into 2026, if you have maybe a specific challenge you're seeking to resolve, or you simply just want to have a look behind the scenes because you've never seen Promo Republic, I'll be super excited to connect. With no further ado, I'll pass the stage back over to Brandy to get the agenda started and dropping my contact details in the chat below.
Thank you, Alex. I am really excited for this conversation. AI is the talk of the town, both with brands, franchisees, and internal teams. We have a panel that has broad experience, as everybody noted, through both AI, e-commerce, SEO, local marketing, all of the levels. So it's really exciting to see how AI touches all of these spaces in franchising. So without any further ado, we'll start with question 1. If AI becomes the first stop for discovery, how do brands make sure they're the first answer, not the forgotten one? I think all of us know and understand that technology is changing literally overnight. We will wake up on a Tuesday and see that something has changed, whether the AI overview has moved the local pack into the AI overview, whether they're testing replacement of meta descriptions, whether social algorithms have changed based upon AI. So every day we wake up, we have new challenges, new technology to understand. So with that, I'd like to know, Christian, how have you made sure, and how are you looking future forward to ensure that your brand is not the forgotten one?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. It's if AI truly has become kind of the starting point for discovery, the game of marketing really changes from being found to being trusted. And so when people are using AI for searching, as an example of our business, like who should I call for water damage repair near me? The system isn't pulling from ads or SEO anymore. It's pulling from structured, verified data that it believes represents real, reliable businesses. And so we have to tell a consistent story online with our structured data. And that's why platforms like Reddit and Quora and other platforms are being sucked into AI more and more. And their ability for, word of mouth is actually what is pulling in. So it's no longer about ranking for keywords only. It's about ranking for truth.
I love that you brought trust in, because in the day and era of AI, we all know how susceptible AI is to hallucinations, to deciding how to choose its data, how regularly changing where it brings its data from. And so trust, I think, is a really big factor in how we ensure not only that we're visible, but that we're visible in a trustworthy way, that we're building trust both as a brand, as a local franchisee, and with our potential clients. So good point on that additional layer of challenges that AI brings into the picture. Mariana.
Yeah, I did a little exercise today before coming on this call because today is National Shawarma Day. And even though I'm not in shawarma, in the shawarma space, I am in the food industry space. So I went to ChatGPT and I said, where should I celebrate National Shawarma Day? And the first answer was Osmos. But funny enough, the source link was not an Osmos article. It was an influencer video. So I thought that was an amazing exercise because it's not only UGC and paid content, but it's everywhere. It's making sure that information that you are structuring on your website matches the exact verbiage that the influencers are using. So it's very interesting world to live in. And I would say I did the same exercise on Google AI. And the answers were Osmos first, Shawarma Royale, and I think Peterland. And they were ranked same way, all articles from third parties. So To Do Toronto were the source articles. And very interesting that it's not what the brand is saying, it's what others are saying about your brand. And it all has to match in order for you to rank higher on the AI search.
I love that perspective. It used to be so easy for us to control the narrative. And the ability for us to control the narrative is becoming increasingly more difficult. And now our goal is to watch the narrative, monitor the narrative, and understand how we can meet the narrative in its space. So I love that you brought that up. I also wanted to add that I am a huge shawarma fan. What I didn't mention is I'm from the Detroit area. I live a couple miles from Dearborn, which has the absolute best shawarma in the country. I will argue. I will fight about that. So
And I wanted to say, Brandy, that National Shawarma Day was actually invented by the Osmos family. So you might not be able to celebrate where you are, but here we have $5 shawarma deals. So yeah, absolutely fantastic.
every time I go to Toronto, which I did 2 weeks ago, one of the first things I do is get shawarma. So we do have excellent shawarma here, but I agree with you. Toronto is also amazing. So Bertie, feel free to put both your inputs on shawarma and AI.
Shawarma is amazing, but I'm also a burrito fan. I will definitely say
Absolutely.
that piggybacking on what Marana and Christian have said so far, it's be the source, not just a website. And I think that we have focused a lot on just being websites with a lot of keywords or buzzwords, right? Search for our core services, search for this. It's always been intent of what the user's looking for, but we haven't gone to the next phase, which is AEO, answer engine optimization. Are we providing the answers for the questions that the consumers are asking? And is that citation reference or those points or trust signals that are out there referencing our brand in a way that we're subject matter experts, that we're able to provide valuable reference to something they're trying to achieve, showing the benefit of working with a professional versus not working with a professional and doing it yourself, seeing the time sink, the resources, and oh my God, I'm just going to call now for an estimate, right? We want to make sure that we're optimizing and treating AI like a librarian. More now than ever, it's a librarian that needs direct citation sources. The trust signals that users generate for us are very important, but we need to make sure that brands are also being ethical and responsible of the information consistency that they're putting out there to ensure that they're harnessing the power of AEO. And that's my point of view of being sure that you're discoverable, is making sure your information is consistent out there, because it could get a little choppy if it's not.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually love your analogy to a library. It's almost like what's happened over the last year is that we have had this library with one set of encyclopedias, and we had gotten to the point where we were pretty good at pulling the right encyclopedias and understanding how they were organized and arranged. And I think technology has brought, 5 different shelves of encyclopedia now to our repertoire that we now have to match, monitor, ensure, meet, and know that is being pulled from. So I think that our library has expanded, and that means that what we're watching and what we're monitoring and what we're working with has to shift and adjust and change. So, Alex P., I would love your take on this question.
Well, I think all of the guys and ladies who spoke before me, have excellent points, and but it's really what we're looking at doing today, right? One thing is that I think we didn't clarify is that content's still king, right? And I believe that the difference today is let's forget about keywords. Let's start really talking like humans do. We got to stop thinking on SEO as we used to a year ago. We got to start thinking of, if I need something, what will I ask? What is a question that I need answered? And if our content is showing that, it's where we're going to start appearing in AI search. We're using PR heavily. To help with this, we added a couple of tools on our website to understand what the consumer is really asking, not what we're assuming they are. And we're making sure that we incorporate that into our content via questions and asks and answers. But there are everyday kind of questions, not, following the old format of, water restoration services in my area.
I love that insight. To piggyback on that, I was talking with a brand last month, and we sort of had a bit of a side conversation. I posed to them, do we still look at Google as a search engine, or do we look at Google and the entire environment as an answer engine now? And I think that, that goes right in line with what you are saying, in that um, we are looking people are looking for answers today, and they're looking for conversation. That is what is being served to them versus traditional keywords. Folks move from searching, like you said, house cleaning or home restoration near me, to how do I find the best home cleaner near me, or what are the typical costs of. They're speaking conversationally, and as you mentioned, our content has to meet them where they're at from a conversational perspective. So I love that insight. And with that, let's move on to question 2. When every location feeds data differently, how do you build one system that AI can actually trust? Alex P., I will let you take the mic first on this one.
Well, thank you for that. So I believe that we gotta be the one source of truth, and we do that from the home office. And then we ask the franchise owners at our local level to add their flavor, right? What is it that they're doing in their local market to differentiate from somebody else doing the services that they provide? Schema, FAQs, clear hierarchy in your website. It's more important than ever because this is what LLMs do. And the quicker that you can get the answer to that LLM for the question of who should they, the question being asked is the correct answer. And they can see throughout your website that it's consistent, that it adds value to the person doing the search. You're gonna end up being rewarded, being the one that gets that snippet.
Yeah, absolutely. Consistency is also king. Um, Birdie, I'll hand the microphone to you.
Absolutely. I think that AI will trust consistently what's true and verifiable. And it's going to continue looking at the sources that it's being fed to see if it finds a discrepancy, and you're off the charts right there, right? It'll take you away. It'll put something that's consistent and verifiable. And to Alex's point, right? Data governance starts at home base. And that has to be baked into the policies that get pushed down. And, if you have to go to the extent of putting it into the FA when you get that new round with your general counsel, by all means, because it's not going away. It's something that, dependent on when your franchisees came into the system, when, they adopted the new different policies policies, all of this is going to start with an audit to see what your data governance looks like, to see if there's disparity points for you to kind of clean up house. So then when you are pushing down the new data governance, you're able to have a streamlined process that AI will be able to pick up, verify, and say, all right, this looks good. Let me go ahead and give it relevance.
I love that you mentioned verifiable. Gone are the days where we can just say things, whereas and it'll be picked up as fact. Now AI is a little bit too smart to let that fly.
Yeah.
I also love the point about governance. Now is a really excellent opportunity if we're lacking governance with a franchisee or with a network of franchisees. We have this ability in this window to say, hey, now is a really great time to get us all on that same data governance policy, because it will benefit you, the franchisee, at the end of the day. If we're all marching in the same direction and we're all providing that same, as you said, verifiable data. So that was awesome insight. Christian.
Yeah, I love the responses so far. I mean, I believe the brands that will win in this kind of next era are the ones that think of data as marketing. So AI does not like chaos. So when it sees chaotic data, when it sees unstructured data that doesn't validate itself, then there's where the problem lies. So in order to build a system where AI trusts you, you have to combine technology, process, and people. Technology gives you the infrastructure, process keeps it clean, and people, our franchise owners, give it like authenticity. But ultimately, yeah, it comes down to the home office. Like there has to be a centralized command of managing your GBP profiles, the data that goes. I mean, that's really where a lot of technology providers, like the likes of like Sochi and Consumer Fusion and things like that, really allow you to do it at scale as a franchisor. But yeah, it all comes down to data and how trustworthy the AI thinks you are based on what other people are saying about you, which is a hard part. We can say how awesome we are about our brands all day long, but AI, just like consumers, they don't trust what we say, they trust what other people say.
Absolutely. For the first time, I had a franchisee approach us about Reddit. And we have actually, over the last year, I don't want to say pre-AI, but pre the heavy AI overview in SERP. We've talked about when forums started really showing, we started communicating to franchisees, hey, I'm seeing some reputation issues here on Reddit, or I'm seeing positive issues here on Reddit, or Reddit is a space that you can take advantage of because it is being shown now. So this is this kind of untapped blue ocean for a lot of franchisees, but Reddit is a bit scary to folks who have not been on Reddit. So we actually, yesterday, I received an email from a franchisee for the very first time who said, hey, I saw that Reddit is showing up in a search for my office and it's being mentioned in AI overview. And how do we take advantage of this? So it's all changing. And like you said, Reddit is one great example of places that maybe we didn't even lean into or talk about previously that we do have to now. I also I actually wrote down, you said AI does not like chaos. I want to borrow that brilliance from you, because I think that's a really good point, to sort of sum it down a little bit to something very simple. AI doesn't like chaos. So it's up to us to control that narrative, keep ourselves on brand, know what we're communicating out to our potential franchisees. I love that line. Mariana, I'll hand the mic over to you.
Yeah, I think the answer really is the centralized and structure. I would say, in our case, back maybe 5, 6 years ago, the game changer was to build a locations page to every location, but we have 390 locations that would help optimize SEO. Now, each location page should have an FAQ. So no longer just having your hours listed is enough, right? You need to have an FAQ. Is this location in this plaza? Is this location near this other restaurant? Is this location in this intersection? Is this location halal? Is this location serving gluten free? So there are so many key components to search that is only relevant If you are searching queries, and I would say now the AI picks those up, and we have the opportunity because 6 years ago we separated those location pages. We're now able to implement the FAQs in each page. And if you are sitting in BC or if you're sitting in small town Nova Scotia, I can get you specific answers from Nova Scotia. And ChatGPT, I love bringing ChatGPT up because I do have an account, so I pay for it. I get very personalized answers. It would tell me, go to this one because it's the one that's closest to you. So I'm sure there's, just like me, there's many users out there that really benefit from going straight to the question, hey, is the location in New Minas serves gluten-free burritos? And then there's your answer. So for us, it's really a game changer, just structuring and centralizing the data and just utilizing the platforms we had set up and the metrics we had set up almost 6 years ago in order to improve SEO.
Love that. Fantastic insight from everybody on this question. With that, let's move on to the next question. So this question talks about the leading indicators. How would you describe the leading indicators that predict whether AI visibility improvements will translate into conversions? And I think this is the biggie. So I will hand the mic back to you, Mariana.
As you all know, I sell burritos. So I really sell the experience of having a burrito, and the search to store is what the data is the data I'm looking for, right? I want you to search and actually come in. So building those triggers is extremely, I would say, valuable to us. And we use AI in order to identify how long has it been since you haven't showed up at Barbarito. We use it to identify how long you've been a member. If you are a member, if you're not a member, if you are a vegetarian or if you are a gluten-free eater. So for us, the metrics that really matter is giving you that what you want when you want it. And AI has really helped us I believe, tap on that market by integrating everything and just making sure the POS data is linked to your loyalty, and then everything just works in order to make data-driven decisions. We can't really segment the data if we are not able to match them. So in our case, it's always search to store what we're looking for. That's the key performance indicator.
Awesome. That makes so much sense within the food industry. Like you said, at the end of the day, it is AI visibility, and are the improvements within that leading to burritos for lunch? Now, on the flip side, Christian, in the home services space, what is your take on this?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of AI searches happening. I think, our business is is unique because we do have the more planned cleaning side where it's less on the emergency side, and then we have the emergency response, the water, fire, smoke, restoration side. If you have 3 feet of water in your basement, you're not going to AI or reading reviews or taking extensive time to find a provider. You're going to Google and you're going to find some variation of 35,000 different, terms and phrases and questions around water damage repair or flooded basement or whatever you could frantically have your fingers type in that moment. And so from an AI perspective, we really are looking at it both on the cleaning and the restoration side, but we look at like more branded kind of search volume, like direct traffic to our sites and calls through these channels. And ultimately, we get a lot of data from our franchisees, especially on jobs that they get from ChatGPT. And so now, when AI kind of emerged, that is now a lead source, in the CRM. And so we can actually attribute some of these AI projects of influencing AI and AI search with specific revenue generating activities in our business.
So I'm hearing that from franchisees also. Customers are telling them, we found you on ChatGPT. And then, pro tip for those of us, everybody on the call here who uses Google Analytics, which I'm assuming is most of us, OpenAI ChatGPT does UTM tag chats and links to pass through. So you are able in Google Analytics to understand how much traffic has been driven over ChatGPT. I think specifically in one of the brands I was looking at just earlier this week, the increase was 800% year over year. So I know for us, that is one of the leading indicators, is both, like you said, at the franchisee level, and then also in Google Analytics. We're not able to capture all of the other LLMs specifically, sorry, but we are able to at least understand everything that comes through OpenAI in Google Analytics. And I love that they do that. So at least they make one aspect of this a little bit easier for all of us in this industry. So, Bertie, what are your thoughts on this?
Said pretty much, took the words right out of my mouth, right? Analytics, UTM tagging. That's where you're going to see a lot of your answer signals. Answer stage signals is going to be important. And I think a very high level sense here is that it's going to vary depending on the type of brand you are, right? Whether it's food, whether it's home service on demand, whether it's project based, they're all going to have different stages of answer signals that are going to mean different things for your business. So understanding that pipeline and consumer journey and how AI is integrated to it is going to be very important. And I think that knowing where your citations are stronger is going to be important. Like, are you appearing more on Yelp? Are you appearing more on Reddit? Let's focus a little bit more and give those areas a bit more love. From there, you want to see if those answers or queries are actually qualitative to driving the revenue sale or the goal that you're looking for. If it's just airy questions that they're looking for, you don't want to waste marketing dollars trying to get that conversion. You want those that are focused more on like, hey, this is happening, or I'm hungry, I want burritos. Like you want to focus on those intent driven answers, because those are usually where the marketing conversion dollars are at, and we want to shorten that journey the most possible. And sometimes with AI, it could get very diverse. So you want to make sure that your answer signals are on point, dependent on the industry that you're serving.
So many excellent points there. In some ways, when you were speaking, it made me think about what we've really done over this past year and what we will continue to do through 2026 is, while marketing fundamentals stay the same, the marketing funnel itself has drastically changed. We are reshaping the funnel. What used to be a pretty solid funnel, top to bottom, while it's still there, it is so much more nuanced and might have a few different top levels to capture, to provide awareness, and then a couple extra little pipelines coming in lower lower in the funnel than we're used to seeing. So I noticed you just typed chutes and ladders, and I think that is an excellent analogy. We are a bit more chutes and ladders now than the marketing funnel, where we're trying to see how we can play that game and we can climb that ladder and not land on the really big slide. So with that, Alex P, I'd love your feedback.
Sure. I mean, everybody's making excellent points, and we seem to be all in alignment. I mean, it's a good thing, I guess, that we're doing all the right thing. We keep on tracking where people are coming from, right? We're looking at the interactions that they have, but traffic is always nice to see where people are coming from. But at the end of the day, the action is what tells a real story, right? So we keep an eye on Google Business Profile, how they're interacting with that. We ask our consumers, where do you find us? And we're finding them more and more. I mean, we're an emergency service business, and more people are finding us through ChatGPT and other AI tools. I guess they're asking the questions, who should I call? And ChatGPT is giving the answer and why, PureClean should be the choice for their specific search. So I think obviously analytics, super important. But at the end of the day, I mean, we got to ask, how did you find us? Why did you pick us? And if we don't do that, we don't learn. If we don't learn, we can iterate and find better way to do what we're doing.
And you bring an interesting point in terms of asking. It is always important to ask. What I think is kind of cool is historically we would ask, and I think everyone would say Google. And so that didn't really help us too much in terms of our attribution. Of course, there were times where they would say, we saw a yard sign or that type of thing, or we got a referral. And so that really helped us. But from a digital perspective, we don't really know. But now with ChatGPT and other LLMs, we are actually hearing people specify we use ChatGPT. So it's kind of cool that one of the benefits is that we are getting a little bit more insight when we ask that question. So asking that question does become even more important today than maybe it was a year ago. Yes, just Google it, less than GPT it. So with that, let's head to our last question. Last but definitely not least here. If you had to bet on one bold move today, so a bold one, to future proof visibility, what would it be? Let's see. So, Bertie, I think you've got the microphone here.
Appreciate it. Well, I think that if it was just one, right? I have 10 in my head, but one, invest in AI knowledge. And what AI knowledge specifically? Having your business or your brand understand how it interacts with AI. How? Building a brand knowledge graph that shows your services in a very easy, digestible way that goes back to that initial data governance discussion we had, that can be pushed down to all of the different relevant sites that you have. That'll be the very first step. And I think the most strongest recommendation that I can give you is that it starts from the foundation up, and your foundation is going to determine how visible you are in this AI landscape.
Love that. Christian, what is your bold move today?
I think, we've talked about data a lot. I think the treating data with the same importance as like our marketing strategy and creative. So kind of owning your brand data's pipeline, ensuring that you can future proof your visibility by kind of bridging the gap between human credibility, the stuff that people are saying about you, with like machine readability. I think, if AI is the gatekeeper, your data is the voice. And of course, you hear things that are clear much better. And so I think structured data, and partnering with your IT and your platform providers, and ensuring everything is consistent. I think that's probably the best thing, and that obviously goes with a lot of the things that Mariana was talking about with question and answers, like whether it's your own properties or not, just consistent content across all of your digital ecosystems.
I love that. Alex P, what is your bold move? What would your number one choice be to future proof? Alex P, I know you were having connectivity issues, so
I'm sorry. I don't know if you guys can hear me. I didn't hear half of the
okay,
question, but I know where we're going with this. So,
go ahead.
um, I think my biggest thing is just make your data, your content super easy to understand for users, humans, as well as LLM. I think over the years we've been, because of keywords, we tend to write books about the services that we provide. And in reality, today's people's attention is that of a goldfish. So if you can ask a simple question and hand them the answer of what they're looking for, you have a better chance that they're going to want to learn more about what they're looking for. If they gotta look for that information, they're gonna go somewhere else and keep on looking, and find that easy to access answer to the first question they had. So I think that the biggest future proof of visibility is to find ways to simplify your data so everybody, including LLMs, can understand it easily, and you'll be rewarded because of that.
I love that. That is a really excellent point. I do think oftentimes in the franchising world, all of us sitting on our end, we tend to like to get a little bit in the weeds, a little bit data heavy. And I know that franchisees often become overwhelmed, especially when we're throwing a pile of data towards them. So making it all a little bit more understandable and digestible, especially to help us know what to do next, is a really valid future proofing move. I agree with that, Mariana.
Yeah, I honestly think the only way in my industry to future proof is kind of integrate. I would say if you have the same POS for the last 20 years, it's great. The chances that they're going to integrate with an AI tool that's going to be able to send emails that you want to send to who you want to send it, it's very low. So if you have to start now to rebuild your tech stack in order to accommodate, you really need to think about this as priority investment, because I remember back in the day exporting Excel sheets and importing into MailChimp to send out emails to that one piece of the group that I wanted to send this message to. And nowadays it's so much easier. You can just build great tags, and there's great companies out there that can help you if you have the correct point of sale system. So once you're able to integrate all the data, you can really see the full picture, and it's user friendly. To Alex's P point, it is localized. You can do so much with it, but you really need that integration and focusing on the right tech that's going to work together and not separately.
I love that. And I have a follow-up question on that real quickly, because I do see that we do have time to add another question in there, but I'm going to answer this one too. So for us here at Threshold, it is partially integrate, but it is also aggregate. What myself and my team are working heavily on is how do we intake data, and from what data sources can we now easily pull in from? How do we bundle that? How do we apply that at the local level to a local territory? And then how do we make use of these large language models to do analysis and essentially future proofing and predicting forward? One of the projects that I'm working on right now is how do we future proof our review velocity for our competition when compared. So we're looking at Google reviews. We're looking at what are our Google reviews? How do we understand and know who our competitors are on Google? What is our review velocity? What is our review cadence? What are our sentiments within our reviews? We work together with tools such as Promo to aggregate this information. And when we pull all of this data, we are able to then feed it into LLMs via API and get insights back out to understand here's where we're at now, here's where we're looking back 6 months, and here's what we can predict forward. Now, could we dump everything into SQL and pull it out through multiple queries and do different kinds of maths? Sure. But are we necessarily going to know when we do that data pull that there's a new competitor and their review velocity is so high? And always checking, and wanting to know who's entering the market, who's leaving the market, and checking that every month to know how does this dynamic change. And when we can take that off of ourselves and push that over to AI, we are able to predict forward to some degree, of course, not perfect. And then we're also able to understand where we've been, where we're at, and then predict forward in ways that we've really never been able to before. So I think that's our answer from Threshold as to how we're really working to future-proof that visibility, is to use AI to aggregate that data and look forward into the future. And so that's our spot. I wanted to ask really, really quickly, because this question was about bold moves. So I'm curious, Mariana, you mentioned, take that bold leap and rebuild your tech stack. Do it now, because we're on the forefront and we're in the middle of change, and now is a great time to rebuild that tech stack. Is there any reticence here throughout the panel, or fear or concern? And I ask this because I have reticence that the technology is moving so fast that the investment of time and money and energy that we make today may in 6 months be, not valuable when we look back and say, well, technology has changed so much. So are you afraid and want to sit back because we see technology moving so fast, or are you feeling that now is the time to really dig in and lock down and make those investments and those bold moves? Who wants to go first?
I'll take a stab at it.
Go for it.
I think that, I initially started this conversation with an interesting analogy about VHS is going to CDs, but there's a different part of that I didn't talk about, which is CDs going into DVDs and Blu-rays. But that Blu-ray had a moment where it was with HD DVD. And those two technologies were combating with each other. Products were getting thrown out there. You could buy a laptop with HD DVD as you can with Blu-ray. Then all of a sudden, HD DVD disappeared. Blu-ray won. And then I'm not thinking about that specific analogy that way. I'm thinking about my friend that had about 1,000 DVDs deep. And all of a sudden, his entire wall of years of collections just became irrelevant. And I asked him, I was like, hey, John, what are you going to do with all these DVDs? Are you going to start collecting Blu-rays? And he's like, I think I'm going to wait a couple years before I get into a hobby that's easily replaced. And I'm going to do it all over again. So to Mariana's point, I think that the quicker you rip off the Band-Aid, the easier it is going to be for you to go ahead and adapt and benefit off of the revenue streams that this is going to generate versus kind of staying classical and saying, I like my DVD collection.
I love that. I love that perspective. I happen to agree that we just need to jump in. We need to plug our noses and jump into the freezing water. And with an understanding that that we do have to know and understand that in 5 or 6 months that our project is never finished right now, because we're in such a time of technological change that whatever initiative we're starting may very well be a long-term initiative. And we may have to go back to the drawing board, add some more data layers, shift some things. And as long as we have an open mind, I think that, we'll be all right. Us marketers, we're really good at pivoting when we need to pivot. So I think all of us have a lot of experience in that space. But I do hear, and I do feel sometimes that reticence. And I want to be sure that we aren't chasing this shiny object that will become a new shiny object next month. So sometimes it's really hard to get the noise out of the space. And I think a lot of the questions that we touched upon here and the bold move today in terms of future proofing are all fundamentals. AI knowledge, yes, gain AI knowledge, absolutely. Get that data pipeline in place, work together with IT. I am a huge fan of that. I think the more we can lean on our other departments within our brands to gather and aggregate and know and understand data as much as possible, go ahead and invest, make that data understandable. Again, another foundation. Integrate. Use this moment to integrate and rebuild your tech stack, your marketing tech stack, so you can take advantage of the LLMs. And then my answer was aggregate. So along with these 5 fundamentals, I think you can't go wrong. I think you can't go wrong. Any more thoughts?
So Brandy, I wanted to jump in on that, right? We're getting to the point that technology changes so fast that I think the biggest problem that you will have is not making a decision. It might not be the perfect decision, but if you are thinking what you're doing and you're thinking it through, it's still going to be a good one. And as long as you're agile, your team is agile and willing to change the direction, even if it's just a little bit, because there is a better way to do it. Instead of committing and purchasing a 5-year contract with a company, today's AI, I think that's a not, way of thinking. If you commit for 5 years with somebody, who's to say that, the technology that is the best today, in a year, somebody's not going to be doing better. So you got to go with it. Let's go in with what we have. Let's go short term, but get the most goals that we can get out of it. And let's see if we continue in this path or if we adjust and we have to, drive a little bit to the left, to the right, or completely change directions.
I think we've always needed to be agile, but I agree with you. Now we had options before, and now we must be agile. Every single marketer today must be agile marketer. We must build agile marketing teams. If we don't do that and we aren't in that headspace, I think that goes to one of our earlier questions, which is, how do we stay there? So, Christian, Mariana, any additional thoughts here before I turn it over to Q&A?
Yeah, I wanted to add something really quickly about asking for roadmaps. There's nothing wrong with asking your future partners for a roadmap. Like, hey, what are you guys working on in the next 2 years? Like, tell me what are the features that you are worried about because they already have a tech project they're selling to you. What is going on the back end? Where is this company going? So when you associate yourselves with a new company, you really need to ask those questions. Where is this company going in the next 2 years? Because they're also worried that they're going to be relevant. It's not just you, you're worrying, but they're also worrying. So that's all.
No, that is actually a really excellent point. We work with Promo Republic here at Threshold, full disclosure. But the reason why we actually chose Promo Republic over other vendors was because of that agility and the roadmap. And we understood and felt when we were I want to say vendor shopping, but choosing our future partner, who could we work with that we felt would be the most agile and was the most forward looking. And they basically won that because we could see that some of the legacy platforms, definitely I felt like we were going to be there was a risk of technology moving faster than the beast of the legacy platform could. So I think that's so important and does play into our tech stacks too. I'm so glad you brought that up. Christian, I'll toss it over to you for one
Yep.
last thought.
I mean, a lot's been said. I think it's I think it's going to be an exciting time. I think I definitely agree with, it's more important to make a decision and do something and get some sort of executional like direction forward than trying to make the best decision and you have decision paralysis. Like I think that just doesn't work anymore. So yeah, I think it's all been said really well.
Awesome. And I agree with you that, especially right now, decision paralysis is, I think we're probably all a little bit hung up, maybe dabbling that maybe we weren't as much before, but now with technology moving so fast, so many different options, so many different ways to look at things, I think we're all probably stuck in a little bit of decision paralysis. So that was a really, really good reminder to get out of there, to get out of that space. So with that, thank you for answering all of these questions within this slideshow. But I would like to turn it over to everybody who is part of this community listening in for Q&A. Let's see. I don't see any hand raised, nothing in the chat. I see 38 participants, so there has to be some questions in here. So, one question from Carly. What are your thoughts about responding to forums like Reddit as the brand? Answer questions, combating comments, etc. Who would like to take this one? How do you feel about about addressing Reddit as the brand?
I'll take that one. That's actually a really good strategy dependent on what your answer is going to be. Because as before in SEO, we used to do keyword anchoring. Now we can do answer anchoring, right? So if you really study the questions that are being put out there and come back with a thoughtful answer that gives subject matter expertise and perceived value, that's definitely going to be something that works towards your favor. So by all means, if you do find something out there that you can expose your brand to and respond in a thoughtful manner, it's not only going to build your digital equity, but it could potentially turn into a citation reference of that specific question answered.
Absolutely. Do any of our other panelists have any thoughts or comments on Reddit? I'll agree. Go ahead, Alex.
So we actually look into Reddit and are looking for a good strategy. We really haven't done it, but one thing that I've been seeing is that Reddit has been ChatGPT stopped using Reddit, I believe, as of the middle of September, and the responses because people were gaming the system by jumping in Reddit. So it's like everything with SEO, what comes goes away. Black hat stuff doesn't work. If you are doing it thoughtfully for the brand and not just trying to get that extra snippet, this week, it's gonna work. If you do it with just trying, to game the system, you're gonna get hurt long term. So we want to do it in such a way, almost like PR, right? We want to make sure the voice and what the brand wants to say is out there, not just use the system as a way to rank on LLM searches.
I love that. My answer here is that I'm a big fan of teaching franchisees how to answer these either Reddit questions or participate in Reddit forums on their local subreddit in ways that adds value, like you said. So not as a pitch, but as a value. And I also think it's really, really important to monitor local subreddits for franchisees within their territories in their metro area, because oftentimes there may be some negative comments, not just positive, that we can anchor to, like you said, and say thank you, but also negative comments that we really want to get in front of from a reputation management perspective. So I'm a big fan, and we're just getting into that space of educating franchisees of the power of Reddit. But like you said, we might go all in, and then we might see Reddit visibility decrease. But that's where we go back to the being agile. Okay, with that, I think that we are good to wrap up. I think we've got all of our Q&As. Alex, Alex H, I will hand this over to you for a goodbye and a wrap up, and to let folks know how to reach out if they have any questions.
Perfect. Brandy, thank you so much. Panelists, thank you for sharing your context, your expertise, your best practices, and what you're working on. What an event of drinking through the fire hose. Hopefully everybody has one good takeaway that they're bringing home to their brands. Without any further ado, duplicating again my contact information in the chat, and we look forward to seeing you next time. If anybody has an interest to take a look at how Promo Republic can help facilitate your goals around local ranking, AI search, and overall authority, let's get in contact for a conversation sooner rather than later. Wishing everybody a productive and blessed day.
Thank you so much.